Welcome back to another episode of See It Like Strev. This is an interview that people have been waiting for a while. The former ninth overall pick in the CFL Draft. He caught the game-winning pass in the 2023 Grey Cup. He's a Grey Cup champion. He's a Grey Cup MOC. He's the best receiver in the CFL, having a record-breaking season so far. He's one of the big reasons Montreal is the team to beat. Double team him, triple team him. Doesn't matter. He's coming down with it. Ladies and gentlemen, Tyson Philpot.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you having me on today, Strev. Let's go.
Hey, I'm telling you, man, the people have been waiting for this interview. And when I say the people, I specifically mean Jim Bull. We went over to his house a couple weeks ago. We were watching the game versus Hamilton. He was like, when are you going to have the Philpots on? I'm like, I'm working on it, Jim. So we got to give Jim a shout out.
Yeah, definitely. A big shout out to Jim. I know he's coming into town for this game. It's Davis bobblehead night, so he'll be in town to support.
Davis bobblehead night? Are they going to give the bobblehead a neck, or are they going to do it the right way and give him no neck?
There is no neck on that bobblehead. I can promise you that.
Just the way it should be.
Yeah, just how he is, man.
Yeah, that's awesome. Well, let's start talking about this season, man, because everyone sees it. You're staying healthy, but outside of staying healthy, what has the biggest difference been in your game this season so far?
Yeah, I think it's definitely just a confidence thing. Obviously seeing the field the way Davis sees the field. I think that's just a testament to our off-season work and building that chemistry with him and just making sure doing all the little things for him. Obviously, he's playing lights-out football too, which makes it a lot easier for a receiver like me to get open. And I just got to do my job, and, he finds a way to get me the ball.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about your guys' relationship in a little bit, but I want to hit back on the mentality of going through injuries and overcoming that. I mean, you know my background and my history. That's something that's near and dear to me, and something that I believe is when you go through a hard situation like an injury and you face it head on, you prove to yourself you can overcome that stuff and you actually become stronger and better. Has that affected your mentality and made you stronger as a player and a person this season, getting through some of those injuries and now being back on the field?
Yeah, 100%. You said it best. Like, I don't care who you are, like what you've accomplished. When you have a major serious injury and like you need to get surgery or anything like that, like you're going to have self-doubt. It's just inevitable. A lot of people say not to go there, but I think you have to go there sometimes and really discover who you are as a person. How bad do you want it? Like, are you going to put in the little extra work to make sure that you can come back, 110%? That's something I dealt with for sure, with that hamstring and foot injury I had, but it allowed me to just like uncover some things within myself and prove to myself too that, I am who I think I am, who I say I am. And I think, this is the year that I've just been able to put it all together and God's on my side. And, just all the hard work is coming to light for sure.
And we see all that hard work coming to light. I remember when I was going through my ACL the first time, and it's like this thing that happens really fast where you're on the field, you're part of the team, and all of a sudden you're just rehabbing and like you're kind of on your own. And I remember riding the bike and it was in our little hallway leading into the locker room. It's just like a cinder block wall. I'm just riding the bike, listening to Creed in my headphones. I'm just like, man, I gotta like get a different level of dog, man, because there's no one holding your hand, there's no one cheering for you. Do you have any moments like that in your rehab where you're like, all right, I really got to dig deep and see what I'm made of here to overcome this stuff?
1,000,000%. Especially when like you said, it's just you. Like obviously, you're having whether the career or the highlights of your life and like snap your fingers is taken away from you, and the season keeps pushing on. You might get a little condolences from the guys for the first week, but then it's like, well, they got to keep doing their job, and you got to still support them, but you also have to make sure that you're doing everything you can to do your part and get back. And I definitely, especially like for me it was, obviously my season got cut halfway through in 24 and had to rehab, that whole rest of the season. And then, the off season comes and then you start hearing the questions, are you going to be ready? Are you going to have to 6 game coming into the season? Like, where are you? And you truly don't know until you put those pads on and you get into camp and you see how your body reacts. And I think that's what happened for me. And I was really, really nervous. But then I got back on the field around my teammates and they bring your spirits up and it just allows you to play football, play fast. I think that's exactly what happened to me.
You talk about those questions of, hey, are you going to be healthy? I know that's kind of motivating too, because you're like, I don't want to start on 6 game, bro. Like, I got to get back. I got to go. So did that going into this offseason after the last couple of years, has your offseason training changed at all? Obviously, you're healthy now, but dude, your yak is crazy. I feel like you're high pointing the ball better than I've ever seen you do. Was there anything that you did differently this offseason coming into this season?
Yeah, for sure. Definitely, not to say I'm old or anything, but, definitely not chilled, but like a little bit of just, fine tuning some things and not just that young. I want to run every day. I want to run hill sprints, like just beating the body down. Like kind of just a more conservative approach. Obviously got down to Arizona and got to see you guys, and just for me, it was more of the mental side of the game. I kind of knew I had the intangibles. I know what kind of work I put in, but that mental side, just that intellect of the game, I felt like I was able to work on. And like you said, with the high pointing and stuff, I think that's just all confidence, just feeling like I got my swagger back, just getting back to doing what I do. And again, like, I can't do it without the rest of my team and Davis putting me in a position, but yeah, just the confidence for real.
Yeah, and you talk about the mental side of the game too. And I just did an interview with Nic Demski, and I've done a couple other receivers, and that's one thing that all the great receivers talk about. And I think a lot of football fans don't understand is how important understanding the game at a deep level at receiver is. You understand the holes on the defense, you understand where to be. So was there kind of a point this season where you go out there and you're like, okay, I'm seeing the field on a different level right now. I'm comfortable. I know where to be. I'm just kind of flowing. Was there a point this season that you felt like that?
Yeah, for sure. I would say probably Edmonton, maybe. Yeah, probably that Edmonton game. Just after that big Toronto game, my coaches were like, "Yeah, you probably won't see too much man coverage anymore, especially not zero man, definitely not."
Crazy.
And then just understanding, like, teams are going to start bracketing, teams are going to start trying to take you away. So, like you said, just finding that pace and not just like running through the holes all the time, and just finding spots for Davis to put the ball in and get open. I guess that comes with the yak and all that kind of things. But something my receiver coach told me as a young guy that always stuck with me was like, you're so fast, you're so athletic, but the one thing that I think you can learn is watch Nic Demski and just watch the way he finds the holes like you talked about, and just plays football like a vet. So shout out Nick, and shout out my receivers coach for sure.
So Demski was one of those guys that you actually kind of looked up to and was like looking at his game to model yourself after a little bit.
100%. Even before coming into the CFL, that was somebody that I always looked up to, just the things that he's done for Canadian football in general. But yeah, it's awesome to, be in that caliber with those guys.
Yeah, I feel like even just getting to know you a little bit and hearing you talk right now, I feel like the personalities are pretty similar too, man. You guys are team first guys, whatever it takes to help the team get a win. You guys both work extremely hard. And now that you say that, man, I definitely see some similarities between you two. That's not a bad guy.
Hey, that's high praise. I appreciate that.
Absolutely, man. Well, you've talked a lot about Davis in this conversation. Of course, Davis, like that's my guy, and got a lot of respect for him and the way that he's playing. But looking at it from afar, man, he is just such a leader for your guys' team. It's easy to see when he's out there, the edge, the energy that he brings for you guys. I mean, he's hyping you guys up. Even last year, like when he went down, it was just, you guys look like a totally different team. I know you guys are friends off the field, but talk about some of those leadership abilities he brings to your team, and then the relationship that you guys have as well, both on and off the field.
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, like you said, it's night and day, when Davis is on the field and when he's not. And even when, he's in those huddles and the locker room, like when Davis is talking, like, everybody shuts up, everybody looks at him. He commands the room. And I think that's something you want from a leader of your team. He doesn't even have to say anything. Like he walks in and like you could feel the aura, like that, you just know that Davis is that guy, and like you want to be around him, and he's going to command the guys. And I think he leads by example too. He's going to give it his all every single play. You have to carry him off the field if you don't want him to be on that field. And I think that kind of like bleeds on to the rest of the guys. Like we all get a piece of Davis when we're on the field, because he's just such a high character guy. And there's nobody else I'd want to go to war with. He's got all the intangibles of the quarterback that you could ask for. So I think that leadership just speaks volumes for the kind of character he is.
That team culture, that leadership, it starts at the top with the quarterback, but getting to know you guys coming out to Arizona and what he does, for anyone listening that doesn't know, he brings out the core kind of skill group of Montreal. They come out to Scottsdale for about a week, get some work in, hang out. I can just tell getting around you guys, there's such a good culture in that locker room. Being in the locker room, what's that culture like?
Yeah, man, that starts from head down. And we talked about that in training camp. Like, we can't do what we do on the field without the coaches. The coaches can't do it without the management. And, we truly believe that, we're all together, and we're, building blocks that can't do it without each other. And I think just having that understanding and having that respect goes a long way for sure. Because, sometimes it'll be like some people don't mess with the management, or there's tiers to it. And we don't believe in that at all. And again, that started with Coach Moss coming in 2023. And, obviously when he first came in, he was a little bit of a hardy, and, nobody really knew what we were getting ourselves into. But he just showed up to work doing the same things every single day. And it just allowed us all to buy into that. And, if you look at us now, 3 years later, I don't even think Coach Moss has to, preach it as much. Like it's just an embodiment from the team. And, we say once you come into the Alouettes locker room, like you either sink or you swim, you either buy in or you don't. And I think that's evident on the field for sure.
That is the overarching theme of any good team. Like in Winnipeg, we had FIFO. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like fit in or F off. For you guys,
Yeah.
buy in, sink or swim. However you phrase it, that's what it takes to win championships. And I think everyone can see that around the league is like guys are just bought in, whatever it takes. It doesn't seem like there's a lot of ego in that locker room either, which is really important, man.
Definitely. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. So I want to ask you one more thing kind of about your season right now. A lot of outside noise. I'm sure you try to block it out. I'm in media now, so I'm like actually more dialed in on this than I ever been. It's crazy, but you hear the NFL rumblings and we see what you can do. I know what that's like because I've experienced it. You get down the season, agent starts hitting you up. Hey, so-and-so hit us up. Is that something that you have heard? Is that something you pay attention to? Or is that something you just kind of block that out of your mind? You're so focused on right now winning a championship and that stuff will kind of take care of itself.
Yeah, definitely. Of course, I'm sure as long as we're still having this conversation, week 21, I would love to get down there and try some workouts, see what happens. Definitely not something that's on my mind right now. It's championship or bust for us, especially after what happened last year and feeling like we left one on the table. Obviously, hats off to Saskatchewan. They played a great football and we're more than deserving of it, but that's obviously one that, left a sour taste in our mouth. And for me, it's just, go get another Grey Cup, man. Like that feeling, I know, and like that feeling of winning a Grey Cup, there's just nothing that can match that. And like I said before, we go there and do that thing, like I'm sure hopefully we'll be having a conversation about the NFL, but right now, my focus is on who the Montreal Alouettes are playing this week.
Your mind's in the right place, man. And just me to you as you move forward in that journey, whatever that looks like. I've been there. I've experienced it. Please feel free to use me as a resource as you navigate all that stuff because I think I can give you some solid perspective, having been there on the good and bad sides of it. So just throwing that out there for you.
I appreciate that. I will for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask you about your brother really quick. Coming into the league with your brother, I'm sure you've been asked it a million times, but man, it's special, dude. Like twins playing pro ball with your brother. How special is that? What's that competitiveness like between you guys? I'm sure you're always rooting for each other, and he's having a great season too, by the way. Like,
that's right.
Make it overshadow a little bit because of what you're doing, but you look at the numbers and what he's doing, man, it's been awesome. Is there what's that competitiveness like between you two?
Yeah, no, we're ultra competitors. I think that's kind of why we're able to be in the position that we are. So definitely shout out Jalen and appreciate everything he's done for me. But yeah, it's, I would say like we dreamed about this and like we did, but it's still even surreal to even think about what we've been able to accomplish and where we are, to date. And yeah, I still remember being, 5 years old, 6 years old, tackling each other in the backyard and, parents screaming that we're being too physical and talking about playing for the BC Lions, running the football, whatever the case was. And I think it's just a testament to if you truly work hard and, you put your dreams in front of you, they're all achievable. It doesn't matter, you go play Division I football, you do the youth sports route the way me and Jalen did it. You just got to get out there and you got to put your best foot forward. And, shout out the Ford brothers too. It must just be a twin thing. I don't know. Yeah. But yeah, like I said before, this is something me and Jalen dreamed about doing. The next step is maybe playing together. So yeah. I know that's the next thing we want to accomplish together. But like you said before, shout out Jalen. He's having a great year. If I'm not cheering for the Alouettes, I'm cheering for the Stamps. So yeah. Hope to see them keep doing well.
Dude, you two on the same team, that might be deadly. That might be too much.
Hey, the Montreal fans want it. I hear it after every single game. So yeah, I've done my due diligence in doing a little bit of recruiting, and I know he's up for contract this year. So I'll let him handle business, and then we'll see what happens there.
A little internal family tampering going on there. All right.
That's exactly right.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Hey, I got a couple just rapid fire questions, and then we'll get the final question. We'll get you out of here. I appreciate your time, man.
Of course.
So, one-on-one, game on the line, we got to go win. What are you telling Davis to dial up? What's your go-to route?
Ooh. Honestly, for me, it's definitely got to be a post because the way me and Davis see it, like, I'm either breaking a crossface or I'm beating you with speed over the top. And that's something that me and him have just developed the chemistry for. So definitely got to give you that one.
It also helps when he can throw the ball like 87 yards. Just let it fly. You just got to run under it.
Yeah. Back foot, a little air on it. I'll go get it.
Oh, yeah. No doubt. I was talking to Demski the other day, and I asked him about his pregame routine, and I didn't even know. That's my guy. And he said he's super superstitious. He's very superstitious. So are you superstitious, and what's your game day routine like?
I definitely was. I would say the first 2 to 3 years of my career. The more that, I've matured and gone through it, I'm honestly not really. I've become more just loose with it. I do my throws with Davis, I keep those routine, but honestly, nothing too crazy. Actually, like we talked about developing like a new off-season plan. Being down in Arizona, shout out Apex Performance. I've kind of followed their stretching routine that they gave us in the off-season. So kind of jumped on that bandwagon. So that's something new that I've started this year, and clearly it's working. So that's something, I definitely will keep up. Probably, I would say music is probably the most superstitious thing that I do.
What do you listen to?
I'm a little baby guy. Me and Davis for sure. We both listen to the same song before the game. He always knows when I put it on, and I always know when he's got that thing on. So little baby, little Future, but that's that chemistry right there.
That's next level dialed in with your quarterback. You're listening to the same song before the game. Y'all are dialed in, man.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You know that.
Hey, what's your favorite away stadium to go play in?
Okay. Favorite away stadium. Like, I'm biased, obviously, playing college at Calgary. I love McMahon, but probably Winnipeg. I know they don't like me too much out there. Had an awesome game. Honestly, 23 and 24. But yeah, Winnipeg, just because of the atmosphere, it feels like a real professional stadium, just, the way they show out to every single game. And it's always good to silence those guys over there.
It's always fun going into a hostile environment and getting it done.
That's right.
What's your favorite thing about playing in Montreal?
It's got to be, it's just like Winnipeg, it's got to be the fans. Just because I know, playing on the opposite side, but that stadium is rocking, especially when it's a good opponent like you guys coming in, or they have it sold out, and it just feels like that Friday night lights college atmosphere. And always inviting my family out to come watch those big games, because I always tell them, like, you'll never experience a game like this anywhere in the CFL, where it's just tight knit, and the Montreal fans with their air horns and just going crazy. You got to be there to experience it.
100%. Those are passionate fans, and that was always sneaky one of my favorite places to play. You got the castle in the background. Yeah. It was just like kind of, you want to use the word aura. There was like an aura around that place. I always enjoyed playing there, man, because there was always some good energy around it.
Yeah, definitely. It's just got that vintage feel.
It really does. Here's my last question to you. Somebody asked me this question when I was coming out. They asked me, what do you want your football legacy to be? You just retired. Here's your football tombstone. What do you want it to say across the tombstone? You're already a Grey Cup champion. You're one of the best receivers in the game. You're on pace for one of the best seasons of all time. You got a lot of good ball ahead of you, but there's going to be a day when you're sitting on the other side of things like I am now. So when that day comes, what do you want your football legacy to be? What do you want that football tombstone to say about Tyson Philpot?
That's a great question. I've never thought that deep. Obviously, being one of the best is always, the goal. But honestly, for me, probably like, most influential, like, Canadian football player. Like, something I've always, prided myself about is doing the Canadian route, showing other young Canadians that, like I said earlier, like, doesn't matter where you go to school, if you do the whole Canadian route, and you could be right where I am right now and playing against, Alabama football players, or, whatever the case is. So I think that not only being, the best Canadian receiver, or the best receiver to ever play in the CFL, but yeah, being one of the most influential, I think that goes a long way. And, I want to be involved in Canadian football, for as long as I can, whether that be in coaching, recruiting, anything like that. But yeah, just showing young Canadian guys, they can do anything they put their mind to.
Well, you're setting a great example, man. You are well on your way. And I just want to say this, man. You just have a great head on your shoulders, man. And getting to know you these past couple years, coming out to Arizona and seeing you ball out, couldn't be happening to a better person. So I just want to keep encouraging you to keep on going, man, because you're laying a great foundation for fellow Canadians out there, man.
Yes, sir. I appreciate that a lot.
I want to give you the moment to just plug yourself, Tyson Philpot. You got anything you want to plug? You got any social media you want to put out there for the people? The floor is yours.
Yeah, no, definitely get at me. Tyson Philpot on Instagram, on Twitter. Check out the Alouettes. We got many more highlights week in, week out. And yeah, just shout out to CFL for giving us a great platform. And also, shout out to Canadians. Both women and men's qualifying for the LA Olympics in 2028. My former teammate Dequa out there balling, and you never know. Maybe I'll join you guys out there in 28. But yeah, shout out to them putting Canada on the map.
Yeah, absolutely. That'd be awesome to see you out there. That'd be really cool.
Yeah, let's work.
Yeah. Well, hey, I appreciate your time, brother. Good luck the rest of the way. Keep going, dude.
Yes, sir. I appreciate you, Strad.